really gonna make it as a solo main in this game. Like, I forget if it was his wording or someone else's, but like Roy has a character who has like the potential to get into like the top 8-ish area of a big tournament, but at that point in time, he's going to be running into matchups where it's just like it's not really gonna happen. You need to have a secondary character.
And that's kind of what separates him from being, you know, high mid tier from being mid low tier. Yeah, we need that game audio.
Hey, there we go. Gotta hear them delicious Roy hit stop sounds.
Those are Roy has some of the best sounds in this game.
He does.
And Marth has some of the flimsiest, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's interesting. They're trying to go for like a graceful, like quick slash sounds, like Ninja Yi. But yeah, it definitely doesn't have like the thunk to it like Roy's does.
Really, that is kind of the reason that I play Lucina instead of Marth.
Just the sound hit.
Because it feels better to play Lucina.
Makes sense.
But yeah, right now, both of these guys running pretty even, and this is on Smashville, which, you know, normally I'd say this is probably one of Mori's better-ish stages.
Yeah, the fact that he can random out stocks out on the platform like that is actually really, really strong. Like right there could have actually been death. I was very scared. But
Hard forward tilt would have killed easily.
Forward tilt, dash attack, definitely. Like, but yeah, Lunchables didn't expect it. Oh, double jump. Good night. Yeah, just the fact that you can kill people randomly. If Roy doesn't get the first stock, then he's in like a really bad position because he actually has a really hard time killing people without rage. But if he takes the stock first, if he gets momentum going, like he can end games really quickly if you're not
such
careful.
as a situation not dissimilar to that one.
Yeah.
So we saw a little bit earlier, and we might see it here now too. One of the things that Lunchables is really good at in this game is the ledge guarding.
Right. Yeah, that's something the character is good at too. So like, definitely something Lunchables can take advantage of. Roy ledge pressure is pretty scary at times.
The other thing I really like about Lunchables' play, which I mean this applies to every game he plays, but it's especially fun to watch in this one, is especially considering, you know, he doesn't actively practice this game as much as others, is his movement is so crisp.
Yes.
And I mean that's like the first thing that he, if I'm not mistaken, you know, goes to practice.
He is definitely a training mode monster. Yeah, he's a sort of player who will like go into training mode and just play for like hours on end, just like moving around and doing stuff. Ooh, nice counter. That will actually kill cross screen. Jeez.
Roy is pretty powerful.
He's pretty strong. Yeah, he's got an arm to him.
So yeah, 2 stock actually. First week back. And I mean, again, I think that's really down to Marth can get ledge guarded pretty easily when he's not directly below the stage. And Lunchables on stage is just such he overwhelms you.
Yep. Yeah, and this matchup I think is actually pretty interesting because played properly, Marth dominates neutral pretty hard because he's got his sword is just so humongous, and Roy does not actually swing his sword like a sword, so his range is not very comparable. But whenever Roy gets in on Marth, like if he lands a grab or if he gets like that beefy neutral air, like the deep jab, he does really mean things to Marth.
Yeah. And to most characters, for that matter.
A lot of characters, yeah. But I feel like, personally, I feel like Marth especially. Yep, Lunchables is going to save that double jump. He will not be too much by the counter.
I did really like the idea, though, from Keeper, though, to try to go off stage, challenge, you know, that relatively poor Roy recovery. I mean, let's be honest.
If you hit Roy and he doesn't have his double jump afterwards, he's most likely dead.
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of players, depending on whether or not you use tap jump, matters a lot whether or not you accidentally use your double jump whenever you're using up B. That's actually something me personally, I do use tap jump. So like I had to train myself to not use my double jump whenever I up B because if in situations like that you get counter, you just die.
And I mean that applies to most characters where you know your double jump means a lot for your recovery. So Falcon, Little Mac, you know, a lot of characters like that.
Yeah.
Once again,
gotta be careful there. Watch that DI. Gonna get killed by a side B if not careful.
Well, that's the same thing. Lunchables has actually gotten hit with the side Bs a few times, and actually Keeper's been very good about landing the tips on the side Bs. Yeah. But Lunchables' DI has been pretty good on them. But right there, that strong up tilt.
Right, yeah, and catching like up tilt's a little strange because the hitbox doesn't start until it's like at the 45-degree angle in front of him, so it can be kind of tricky to get that sweet spot.
Oh my goodness!
No, you can't do that.
That's something I feel Lunchables lands more often than he should be able to.
Right, yeah, Roy down air is definitely something where you look at it on paper and you're like, where am I going to land this move ever? Like you have to be giving people the crown, like off the top ropes, double axe handle to actually spike them. It is his hands. So like on paper, you would think like this is never going to actually happen. But there are some situations like that. If they regrab the ledge for a second time, that does leave them open if you're
Yeah.
ready to capitalize like Lunchables was there.